Humanity has been creating things for as long as we've been on this planet. From something as simple as a handprint smeared on the wall of a cave, or as complex as Michelangelo's work on the Sistine Chapel. Our pursuit of our creative passions has continued on throughout really all of history. In my opinion, no era could best represent this than the one that we're living in right now. Creativity is just everywhere. I mean, open up the YouTube homepage. No matter what topics you enjoy, and no matter what creators you're subscribed to, they're all the same in this one factor. They're the end result of, creativity and passion. Those videos, like all good works of art, they require a lot of time and effort to be put into them. For it to show up on your homepage, the creator needed to know how to edit, how to be skilled at graphic design. They had to have in-depth knowledge about their topic, and much, much more. Many of the largest content creators spend weeks at a time, some even months, carefully crafting their own videos. And they're not alone in that. Regardless of the field that they find themselves in, creators of all sorts sacrifice time, effort, and energy to produce their own individual works of art. With all that's required of them, one might think that there wouldn't be many people doing it. How many people really can spare that much effort? People are busy. But really, they couldn't be further than the truth somehow. Did you know that over 20 million individual videos are uploaded to YouTube every single day? That's 720,000 hours of content, crammed into one tiny 24-hour period. And all of those are uploaded by the over 115 million current channels on the platform, of which about 65 of them are considered to be consistently active, which means they upload once a month at least. Clearly, many people still want to be a creator despite all of the challenges for it, and those who already are creators still want to keep creating. But that doesn't answer the question of why. Why do we spend all of this effort that could be spent elsewhere? Why do so many people want to do it? Why do we create? Hello everyone, I'm Shoeman, and let's talk about it. Real quick, before we get into the rest of the video, a word from our sponsor, a glass of water. That's right, everybody. I know you. You don't drink water. You drink pop, or soda, or coffee. Go drink water, right now. Serious, it's healthy. Okay, bye. Before we can answer why it is that we create, I think we first need to look at why we don't create. That sounds like a oxymoron or a paradox, but trust me, it's actually essential. I mean, think about it. Right now, it is easier than any other time in history to create something. Just look around you. There are tons of tools, tons of innovations made to technology. Drawing has evolved into the digital form. You can draw digitally with tons of brushes and paints at your disposal without having to do anything. Without having to lift a finger, not having to do anything. Of course, a lot of effort's required. Think about it. Writing. There are tons of courses on writing. Easier to learn than ever before. Back in the past, people couldn't do that easily. And yet now we can. Anybody with some passion and desire can easily become a creator. But they don't. Despite what you would think, even with all the innovations and whatnot, not actually that many people are creating something. Let's look at the statistics here. I mentioned that there were a lot of channels. That's 115 million, and 65 of them are active. But only 1% of the actual population has a channel. And only about 0.7% have an active one. Now, I get that that might not seem fair. YouTube has a sample size for the entire population, but with the amount of concurrent users on the platform, I think it's more than fair to use it, actually. With a sample size that large, you can't really go wrong. But why is only a small population actually creating something? Well, if we turn our attention to the very same thing that makes creating easier, we'll notice that it's also the very same thing that makes creating more difficult. Technology. Think about it. YouTube has about 115 million channels. That's a lot. That's honestly a bigger number than my mind can comprehend and proper. Can you imagine 115 million people standing in one room? You can't. But even more shocking than that is that YouTube as a platform has an estimated 2.7 billion monthly consumers. That is insane. That is so much more than the 115 million. all sitting on their chairs consuming videos without creating anything. It is absurd. What we're seeing from this is that even though technology, by all rights, makes it easier to create something, most people simply use technology to placate themselves, to become consumers. Look at Netflix, for example. How many people use Netflix? They have about 725 million global viewers, which is 9% of the population. That's a lot. And unlike YouTube, while YouTube has an enormous amount, YouTube videos can be as short as you like. With the advent of shorts, they can be as quick as 20 seconds, and that counts as a view. But Netflix, movies on there are 2 hours. Imagine 725 million people watching a 2-hour movie when they get home from work. How much wasted time is that? A lot. Clearly, people are just loving technology. They can't get enough of it. And naturally, that's a bad thing. It's an addiction. But why? You always hear people telling you, oh, you're addicted to technology. Oh, get off your phone. But why? What makes it bad? Well, I'm no scientist. I won't get into the exact particulars. But even to someone like me, it is abundantly clear to see that technology replaces our passion. It replaces our own identity. Our goals and our pursuits, we can live them out through other people. We watch other people accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. We get cheap dopamine hits from not actually accomplishing anything, but tricking our little brains into thinking that we did. It's honestly pathetic. What does that even result in for us? Think about it. 10 years from the line, what would you have accomplished? Nothing. You would have had tons of dreams, tons of desires and passions and pursuits, and you didn't do anything with them. How sad would that be? You've lost all of your potential, your time, and in the end, you've wasted your entire life. You've decided to live your life through technology instead of living it in the moment. It stifles you, and that's why I think it's a terrible thing to happen. So that's why we don't create. It's because we're all too used to having our creative desires replaced by living vicariously through other people. It's because we're so used to coming home after a long day, to sitting in front of a screen and watching colorful images flash by. There's nothing of substance to it, but it hooks us in anyways, and that is why we don't create. But what happens when we do? Authentic creativity in this day and age is akin to a rebellion, honestly. Think about it. Everything in the world right now makes it difficult to create, makes it difficult to be yourself. So that just adds so much more meaning to if you decide to create anyways. If all the odds are against you, and you do it anyways, that's what you truly want. What we need to do right now is not have our own passions and pursuits, our individual desires, replaced by technology and social media. We need to recognize that these aren't doing anything for us, and that we need to start creating on our own. You see, what happens when someone doesn't create, what happens when someone abandons their own desires, their own pursuits and passions, is that their own identity sort of fades away into the amorphous blob of internet people. It's not even real. We fake human connection on there for nothing. And most importantly, I think, we become defined not by what we create, but by what we consume. You always hear people talking about, oh, have you seen the new Marvel movie? Oh, I'm a Pokemon fan. But never what they create. Why is that? It's because their identity has been replaced by these things. That's what it is. So what you need to do is to find yourself. Find your authentic self. Rekindle that flame of passion. It might sound corny, it might sound cringy, but it is necessary. Also, think about it. Social media is inherently temporal. I don't mean in a grand, everlasting sense it's temporal. But I mean trends. Trends fade away so quickly. They hardly last at all. You see one person with a hit video, and then everybody else copies them, and within a month, the trend is dead. Nobody does that anymore. But your creations are different. When a writer creates a story that they're proud of, it's there for the rest of their life. It's something that they can give to their kids. When an artist creates a painting, it's immortalized. It's always there, especially now in the digital age where we can keep everything securely. But why don't we? Plenty of people are misguided as well. Plenty of people recognize this problem of technology addiction, and they decide to create something. But they're doing it wrong. Why? Because many people decide to create for the wrong reasons entirely. They decide that to stand out amongst the crowd, they need to create to get fame. They need to create to get power and money and wealth. But that's just wrong on all levels. They're becoming the people that you see on social media, that you live your life through. But it's also nothing of substance. For me, there's a difference between someone, for example, making a vlogging channel where they passionately display their travels, or someone who just rents out a rich car and pretends like it's his to look better. It's cheap, it's fraudulent, and it doesn't matter. The key there is authenticity. They're not being themselves, but you can. Be authentic. Create what you want to make, because at the end of the day, your creations, if left uninfluenced by other outside sources, they are one of the best representations of your own self that you can make. Think about it. You put your heart and soul into something that you made that can last forever. You basically infuse your own identity into it in the process. When you look at a famous painting, you can tell what the author was thinking. When you read a famous book, a heart-touching book, you can tell what the author wanted you to see. You can tell how the author thinks. But you can't with social media. You just can't. At the end of the day, though, as I said, it's not for views. It's for authenticity. You need to rekindle that flame of creative passion. Just for yourself. Even if it doesn't get views, even if it doesn't get traction, you just need to do it, okay? It doesn't matter if nobody pays attention to you. What matters is that you are realizing yourself. Think about it. You can go 10 years in the future and look back and you'll still have your creation with you. How cool is that? It's like a time machine to the past, seeing exactly what you were back then. And some people are ashamed of their past. That's fine. But it's still interesting nonetheless. And I think even if you're ashamed of it, it's better to have it than not to have it at all. And nowadays, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's just so easy to create something. Find anything. Find tutorials on YouTube for how to draw, how to paint, how to write, how to sculpt. It doesn't matter. Just pick something. Find the thing that you like most. Find the thing that speaks to you. And pick it. Now start creating with it. Start pouring your passion into it. Start infusing your identity into it. And stop living through other people. Recognize their goals right now. Recognize what you want to do. And just do it. So tell me, what will you create? Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, please do remember to subscribe and like. I have, no subscribers. That'd be a great help. I also have some videos in these end cards. They aren't good videos, but they're videos. So if you're interested in that, do click them. Thanks. Goodbye.